uh, now lives in Baton Rouge, and Lexi, Houston High School, graduated in '07 and it goes or lives in Nashville now. John grew up in Germantown and graduated from Germantown High School. He attended the University of Florida, where he met Jennifer. After graduating and marrying, John continued his studies at LSU, graduating with a sought-after degree in landscape architecture. In 1984, John and Jennifer and John's brother Len created the landscape division of Rex Lawhon Horticultural Freight Service, the Mid-South first such company, which John's parents started in 1958. John and Jennifer have had a long history of providing professional, knowledgeable service and personalized, curated landscape design to Mid-South homeowners. Lawhon Landscaping installs high-quality, well-planned landscape and garden designs, as well as landscape renovations that are unique and original to each client's specific need, and we can vouch for that. While most of their work is in Germantown, Collierville, and East Memphis, Lawhon Landscaping works all over the city, county, and surrounding areas. They have installed projects in Oxford, Nashville, Arkansas, all the way to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. John and Jennifer enjoy spending time together at their farm, gardening, reading, and love spending time with their kids, especially since they live in such fun city. Let's have a round of applause for our guest.
One thing, good morning. I'm going to just say we're good at landscaping, but we're not good at technology. So, and we're normal rule followers, but we did not follow the rules and show her PowerPoint Monday. We got it to her late last night. So having said that, we don't really have a PowerPoint to show you up there. However, I've got it on my iPad, and I'll try to be Vanna White and go around and show you some of the pictures. Okay?
Yeah. This was done put together with AI, and apparently AI doesn't like their computer. So
the lights.
I can see it better.
Turn off the lights and make sure you've hit the highest button on your computer. We might be able to see it even better.
Can we turn the lights back on, please? We can't
I'm sorry.
see the video.
Sorry.
our topic today is about curb appeal. Tell me, what does curb appeal mean to you? Is there anybody who actually knows what that is?
It's the way the house looks. If it looks like it looks like you would love to see your house, or it's Better Homes and Garden, then that's more appeal to that, and the possibility of a purchase where it wouldn't if it was just junk in the yard.
That's right. It's and a lot of people, especially, they kind of ignore these things. They're so busy with their lives that they don't really see what's happening around their own house, especially in the front. Many times these houses are built with the builders, and then they put whatever they want to in there. Yeah, it started out, we did some builder work, but it's basically they want a big green sheet now. So they don't care if you use a shrub that's supposed to be a tree in front of the window. So over time, and I have a great picture of this, we just recently did in Germantown. The plants were all the way over almost to the top of the window. And sometimes it takes some evaluation on what we do. Sometimes these things can be fixed. We can do a lot of trimming and that kind of thing, and that will solve it. And there's some plants that respond to that, but if there's certain varieties of junipers or like arborvitaes, you cannot cut all the foliage off of it. Certain hollies you can. Sometimes when you cut it back that hard, it doesn't really look like anything after you're through. So it takes somebody with some evaluation skills to know what they're looking at and what can be properly trimmed back and refreshed, or what has to just go out. I grew up pretty conservative. My dad was a horticulturalist, and we had a family business. Of course, he made everybody work in it. It doesn't matter whether you want to do it or not. And that's one reason when I went off to college, didn't want to have anything to do with the landscaping business. It's just funny how that rolls back around over time. But I did work at Walt Disney World when I was a student for a while in their gardening department. And that gives you a perspective of how important landscaping can be and is. It's extremely important to them because it sets the mood. You don't understand it when you're walking through, but the beautiful flowers, the beautiful architecture, it's very, very important. And they have their own nursery there, and it was a real learning experience for me. When I went to there, I thought I was just going to work in a park. I just wanted to go work in a park, and the guy said they pulled my record. They saw my horticultural background. They pulled my records, and the guy asked me. He said, "Look, we have a position as a gardener. If you're interested, we usually don't do temporary positions like that." And I'm thinking, "Oh man, I'm gonna do that." That's what I've always done. But he said it pays more in the park. I said, "Okay, I'm in." So
Money talks.
but I did learn a lot. It was a good experience, and it's also a good experience in working with people and working at the bottom rung of the ladder down there. And so I have an unusual perspective on these things. I'm pretty conservative when we look at what we've got. But at the same time, there's many times it's just you have to wipe the slate clean. Sometimes things can be saved. Like I said, it depends on what it is. So I have a great deal of knowledge as far as the horticultural end as well as the design end. None of this makes any sense if what you put together doesn't make sense and you don't follow the forms of landscape architecture with form, line, color, all these art principles in there. So when you're looking at the front of the house, sometimes customers they want to work in their back and they want living spaces, patios, all kinds of structures. We're capable of doing all that. Done basketball courts. We've laid out an entire roadway for them. We've done this commercially too, done all green spaces and things like that. But on the front end of it, on curb appeal, it is important because by the time you get ready to sell your home, you don't come out there and spend $8,000-$10,000 to have to redo the entire front yard and then don't enjoy it. I always tell everybody, start looking at it now, what you can do in order to, and sometimes it's very simple. All you have to do is clean it, do some trim up, do a little bit of cleanup, add a few flowers or flowering plants here and there, and get some mulch on it, get the weeds out. That's the simplest thing you can do. And sometimes that's all it takes. Other times it's like the one we did in Germantown just last month. It had to be completely redone. There were some areas we left a few things, and there were some things we were able to transplant that made sense. Other things, that you have problems with people sometimes. They don't like that. They say, "I want to get rid of my boxwood hedge." So we take all the hedges out. Then they come up and they go, "Well, I don't want to throw these away. Let's put them in." I said, "You don't like them there. Why do you think you'd like them in the backyard?" Other times, like we did a job in Midtown where they had some really large azaleas growing way up over the house. I knew that we were in a period where we could cut these back and transplant them, but they were leggy. So what we did is we moved them to the side yards to create kind of a privacy screen. And they are still alive to this day. So it just takes a little knowledge, a little bit of creativity, and then, and also, of course, we use a lot of plants these days around windows that are low, that are dwarfs. Now they look small when they put them in, but they're a lot better. But, with a builder, of course, he wants something that looks really good. So he'll put hedge hollies in there. They'll be that tall and it'll look super good. And then they'll cram them all in there too close. Looks great when you first walk out to look at it, but they just don't hold up, So we are very conscientious of what we do, but the curb appeal thing is important. We had another client one time and they had nothing in the backyard. This was $1 million house, and they couldn't sell it over and over again. Came out and we walked out there and their pool was totally open where everybody could look in it. We had to come in and put large items that screened everything. And when we did that, within 2 weeks, they sold the house. Because everybody that walks out, they come out and look at it and think, look, this is terrible. I don't want to be out there and be exposed out there. But I hated to do that because, I mean, of course I like to get the money, but I hated to do that because I don't like having to make people do that kind of thing. So I tell them, listen, let's start correcting these problems now. If you're going to move, it's kind of nice to find out how long they intend to be there. And especially, well, I've got one now that she's a real estate agent also, but she has a house near Pickwick. We're working on a plan for her. And I asked her, I said, well, how long, you know, it has bad curb appeal, and she knows it. But it's also a difficult site. And I said, well, how long are you going to be there? Well, she's going to be there 2 years. So that makes sense to do all this stonework and stone patios and that kind of thing to me. I could probably sell her on that, but I just, in good conscience, I can't do that. So I try to evaluate this and work and what you need, and how your needs and your lifestyle and how long you're going to be there. All these things come to play in that. So that's part of the curb appeal. Jen, we have some pictures. Unfortunately, I have some great before and after pictures. I don't think you can see them.
Yeah, just keep talking. I'll find it. We talked about that and that. And
Sure we can see.
John, while Jennifer's looking, you've done some volunteer work and different sites, like
Yes.
do some bragging about like the
Yeah.
Collierville
Right.
Square and Page Robin.
Yeah, we did all the first. I used to do a lot of volunteer work with Carver when they didn't have a staff. You know, I was on their staff whenever they needed it for free. But I drew up the plan for the park and the square. In fact, the entire square. All the plants there are my design. If you ever been there. So, but we've always tried to do at least one charitable thing every year. Page Robbins there, they had nothing in their backyard at all. It was just grass. And I did the entire master plan for them. And I did what I don't usually do. I usually don't, since I'm not in the business of actually drawing plans and selling them. We're in the construction business. So I usually don't charge for the plan, so I don't do these fancy drawings with all the rendering. Now they push a couple of buttons and they render for them. But I'm the old marker guy that spends like 10 hours drawing this thing out. And but I drew this really nice plan for it. And I was hoping they could rent, I was telling them, I said, well, I think we can rate up money to do this portion and then do this portion and that portion. But they raised on their fund night enough to do the entire project. And then we didn't do the install. Another group out of Collierville did the install on it. But I've done, when they had their anniversary, we just went over there and did a complete redo of stuff that had died and so forth. And I didn't charge anything for it. So we try to do something like that. We did Ronald McDonald House, did irrigation at no cost for them. We did Church Health Center. We did, before they moved to crosstown over there, they had some statuary there that needed protection. We did plants all around there. And in fact, I worked that in with my son's Eagle project. So he got credit for it. And I supplied all the material stuff. They needed something to keep kids from climbing on those things, because they had some nice projects. So we try to do something. We did a design and everything for the VFW in Collierville. So I think it's important to try to give back and do things for the community wherever you can. And there's lots of things you can do as both from your business standpoint and personal standpoint that might help.
do you want to show that and then talk about,
Well, you can't see this, but we had a project, and we finished it right before Christmas. It's in Midtown off Autumn. Do you know where that is? I love moving around. I love to work in Midtown and downtown and that kind of thing. And then out east, the environment is totally different in these places. But, this place, they had a lot of nice stuff, but it was old, overgrown, couldn't see the house. From the curb appeal standpoint, it was chaotic. It was totally chaotic, but there were nice things. And take some evaluation. It's just mishmash of azaleas, different colors, nothing blended, totally out of balance because heavy shade on one side, pretty much light on the other. So how do you navigate that? How do we bring unity to that? Is what we were figuring out. So we had to take everything out. We amended all the soils. I changed up all the bed lines. And then we came in with new materials, but I took the best of what they had and reutilized it as a background in an area where it didn't block the windows or anything. So it just takes some time and effort to do that. And but I enjoy that. I enjoy kind of the artistic kind of part of it, the rearranging of it. And I love my clients. If I don't like my client, I'm not gonna go back. I'm just the way it is. I can only do so much work. We're a small company.
This is before,
Yeah,
this is
but
before,
we're a small company.
and this is
so,
after, and now see the
when
house.
I had one customer one time I went
You
in
see
there, and I really didn't like the guy because he was real disrespectful to his wife. I never went back. Because I knew right then that this is not somebody I could work with or something like that. I've been wrong too sometimes. I had one lady and I thought she was arrogant and she just knew everything. And I just stayed with her, but I did 2 houses for her, one on 200 acres. So, sometimes it does pay off to be patient.
Yeah, John, we have a lot of environmental issues now when it comes to lawns, et cetera. I know.
Right.
In Wisconsin, they do no mow May. A lot of folks, instead of planting grass, are planting clover.
Yeah.
Especially the early season, spring when bees are active. Can you talk a little bit about how it may be changing your industry?
Well, we've done, one thing that we did fairly recently. There's a concept called rain gardens. Are you all familiar with that? We had a customer, he's on an area that's, used to be a golf course and it's been made into, it was a farm and then they turned it to golf course and now it's a residential area. But he had a lot of water. He was on a pretty heavy slope. A lot of water was going around the side of his house and coming in his garage. So what we did is we took all the water and moved it out and piped it to the back far corner. In the back far corner, it goes like that. But all the neighbors' water is coming on in too. So I figured that's too much water we're dumping on the people behind them. So what we did is we did a rain garden at the very end. And what you did that is we piped it to a big tank, holding tank, and there's like lines out of there that go out, sort of like a septic field. And then we filled that whole area with gravel. And then everything we planted in there was water tolerant or absorbed water. And it worked out really well. And so whatever you have left over in a big rain, it slowly moves it out or it absorbs it into the surrounding area. And that's a big concept now, especially in big urban areas where they've got a lot of runoff. It's becoming more and more. If you go and look some of these suburban areas, you notice like Collierville and Germantown, they have what they call detention basins. And what that is it's like it's a big depression. And the detention basin means that water comes in there and slowly moves out. So you don't overwhelm the city sewer system when you have a lot of rain. Because rain, you get the same amount of rain over an area, but there's what they call a coefficient of runoff. All the water coming off your roof and your pavement moves a lot faster than it does over grass or some kind of ground cover or something like that. So there's a lot of work done on that, and it's required by a lot of communities like that nowadays because they don't want to have too much put on the city system and have flooding like we did a few years ago. I don't even remember, but down on Kirby, all flooded, all that area. Water was coming up out of the sewer system. And so that's because it's just overwhelmed the system. And so, yeah, and any kind of ground cover like that is, and of course, clover is good for the soil. It's nitrogen fixing, so.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of that. They're actually going at these farm places right now here, that actually are selling clover seed.
Yeah, my dad used to put, every couple of years, he'd do clover in the backfield. It was really pretty, but the whole idea is to cover crop, keeps down erosion, and also brings nitrogen to the soil as well. And you see that if you go down to Mississippi or something in the springtime, you see these beautiful red, and that's crimson clover. So, do we have any questions?
I'm just curious, are any of your 3 kids interested in horticulture?
Heck no. And I'm glad. They're all making a lot more money than us. But West in construction. Now, having said that, everybody had to work some, even my daughter, and she really didn't like it. But I think it was good. It teaches you and I think it's good also to teach kids how it is to work at the lower level.
Yes.
West would come from soccer, right? He was a real good athlete. He'd play soccer and have to have his soccer, meets, or he'd go, if he had soccer practice, I'd say, hop on the truck and you're going to go lay stone today. So he'd have to do that, but he did complain. I think it helped him because he's in the construction business. He works for a big contractor.
Cool. Industrial, yeah.
David's in real estate. He's making more money than everybody else put together.
Well, how do we contact you guys?
Pardon?
How do we contact you guys?
Call us at 901-754-7474.
Wow. Any questions?
No, but I do have a testimony. When he came, we were having problems in our yard, with things going, dying, et cetera. And they came out there and he designed it. He had some ferns. I didn't know the type of ferns, but he put some ferns up, and I thought, one more of a flower type guy. But once they grew just a little bit, I'm like, man, am I telling her? And then the neighbor said, boy, your yard looks absolutely great. I was more of a bushy type azalea, that person. And then he matched the color of the azaleas with our brick color, which happened to be kind of a reddish deal. But he did a tremendous job. Really.
Having said that, I had a customer one time. She was over there close to Chickasaw Gardens, and she wanted me to match her curtains with I'm sorry, God didn't make them in this size.
That's fine. And Pam, you've got a
I
question?
wanted to make a quick comment. Thank you so much. There is a huge rock star garden person coming to Memphis tomorrow and Friday. He's going to speak Friday in Kubrion. His name is Joey Santori. He's a bit of a foul-mouthed guy. He's got 517,000 followers. He has a podcast called Crime Pays, Botany Doesn't. And his philosophy, he's very radical. His philosophy is the landscapes in America all look the same because we're all using all these beautiful foreign plants and everything else. And he would like us to get back to regional landscaping where we use the plants that grow naturally in the area. There are only room for 75 tickets, $20. And he normally draws a huge crowd, but this was the biggest space we could find at the last minute. So anyway, go online. He's on Eventbrite. Joey Santor.
I love these native plants.
Yeah.
And when I can have the opportunity to do it all native, most people don't like that because they don't like the wild look.
Yes.
But there are times when you can do that, or if you're doing a renovation project around the park, we've done that before. We did Johnson Park in Collierville. We've done all kinds of
Harris.
Was
it Harris Park?
what?
Harris Park.
Yeah, we did Harris Park too, but walkways and all the trees and stuff like that were all native.
When you do these wonderful things, is there a plaque that commemorate that you donated all? You should do that.
We're not worried about that.
Yeah, but it's good to know when you go to the.
So, Vonna, talk about, I'm sorry.
No. I was gonna say real quick, Darn it.
So we live on 4 acres, just for anybody that, I thought this was really interesting. Our niece, nephew, and then they married people that are into horticulture and all that stuff. So they came to visit us a couple years ago, and they went out in our backyard, which we've never had sprayed. We do spray the front yard because the weeds are crazy, but we don't spray the back. We have 4 acres. But they were walking out there and taking pictures of all these edible plants that are in our backyard. And they're like, if you ever have crazy stuff happen, you guys have all the food you need in your backyard. Like, I had no idea.
A bunch of weeds. And
Yeah, it looks like a bunch of weeds, but it's like a lot of it's
The
edible.
customer, we did one garden for a customer when we used to block a raised garden for him. And it was a problem with him and his wife. His wife didn't want this big thing in there. Husband did, so it ended up slowly expanding. But when we've done, it would be fun. I love it, the concept of edible gardens. But it takes work.
Yeah.
Don't think that you're gonna plant it there and it's like wildflower garden. This wildflower garden, if you don't cut this at the right time and treat it right and do it right, then you're not gonna have anything. It's not just like you run out there and sprinkle these flowers and suddenly you've got the Garden of Eden out there. It just doesn't work that way.
But you guys have got to set up some one-on-ones with John and Jennifer Lawhon of Lawhon Land.
I apologize for the lack of
No worries.
pictures on that.
You know, it gives us a little mystery, make us find out more.
Well, if you'll have us back, we'll.
Oh, you
Alright,
get
so
to say.
We'll have it working next time.
Take a picture.
So I wanna share this little poem